And here we are, Friday afternoon, us for another afternoon devotion on location. Working a little bit late at the church today, later than usual, so doing video from here. So say hi in the chat, let me know. And like always, let me know what you're thankful for. I always like to start with that, as hopefully you know by now. So today I was up in the fellowship hall and I found one of Nerf rival balls, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, from what 4.5 months ago, we joked like we're gonna be finding these months from now. Yep, 4.5 months later, found another one. So just kind of funny, but anyway, thankful for you guys. So let's see, we got Eric is thankful for his mom. Alec is thankful for the Brockmeyers. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's kind of you. Julie and the kids helped them out with some things today. So anyway, appreciate that. Appreciate you guys. So others, I see Beth is on. Hi, Beth. What are you thankful for today? Let's share those together. So, all right, let's get to our quarter team games as well. We had 5 different questions on Wednesday, so let's run through our answers and our prize winners really quick, okay? So all of these were about Twitter. Wednesday was the anniversary of when Twitter was founded. So all right, so 5 questions. Number 1, what year did it go public? That was 2006, which Alec got right on the button, so quarter for Alex on that one. What date was the first tweet? I told you it was before they went public. It was on March 21st, and Emmy got it right on the button at March 21st. So quarter for Emmy there. Question 3 was, what was the original character limit? Like how many letters or spaces or whatever could you put in one tweet? Correct answer was 140. Emmy was the closest with 172. The next question was current character limit. How many characters can you use now? Correct answer is 280. And Emmy also was the closest on that with 435. So Emmy on a roll with the Twitter questions. Final question was, how many users are on Twitter now? 330 million people worldwide use Twitter, or at least have an account. 330 million. The closest was 400 million. Both Luke and Alec guessed 400 million, so they each get a. That we've got a new question for today. Today is National or World or something Emoji Day. Today is Emoji Day. I don't know who comes up with this stuff. So emojis were first invented back, I found different reports, either 98 or 99 in Japan. The question for you today is, in the original set of emojis, how many were there? How many emojis were there in the very first set of emojis they were on phones in Japan? So anyway, there's your question. How many emojis are in the original set? There you go. All right. So let's talk about our actual devotion. We are up to Matthew in our walk through the 12 disciples or 12 apostles. So we're up to Matthew. So what do we know about Matthew? We know his name obviously is Matthew, but he also goes by Levi. So either of those sort of, that he was a tax collector. I'm sure most of you all know that about him, which was not really definitely not a well-respected profession, right? Really sort of viewed as a traitor in a lot of ways, because they sort of got this tax collector franchise, you could call it, from the Roman government. They had to pay X amount to the Roman government, but they could charge whatever they wanted. And often they way overcharged, and basically they were ripping off their own people. They were viewed as traitors. They had betrayed the Jewish people and were serving the Romans instead. So he was not well liked because of that. We know he was the author of the Gospel of Matthew, which you might think because of that would mean we have a lot of details about him, but that's actually not the case. In his own book, the only time he's only mentioned twice. He mentions himself in the list of the 12, obviously, but he also 2 stories in his own gospel that we have about him. And the big one there that's going to teach us about him is his calling. Okay, so we find that in Matthew 9 and in Luke chapter 5. So what we see there is Jesus comes to basically his office and says, "Follow me." And the story tells us that he does. Immediately, he drops what he was doing and he followed Jesus. So, it kind of makes us think the fact that he followed so quickly and left, such a very different life to follow Jesus. Maybe there was already some conviction of sin going on there and knew that he needed to get some things right and make some changes. And he was apparently ready for that and followed Jesus, which speaks well of him. The other thing, and we see this a little bit very briefly, Matthew mentions it himself. Luke gives us a little bit more detail that immediately after he followed Jesus, that night he had a banquet at his home in Jesus's honor, and he invited a lot of his tax collector friends over to this dinner, which the Pharisees and the religious leaders very much did not like. Shocker. But we see Matthew, like some of the other disciples, as soon as he finds Jesus, or as soon as Jesus finds him, he goes and tells his friends, which is a great example to us. Who's somebody in your life that you can invite to Jesus, to tell about Jesus? That's a good thing for us to be thinking about. So what else? The other sort of fact, or whatever you want to call it, that I wanted to mention about Matthew, we know he was Jewish. We know that his gospel is really written to other Jews. And we know that he knew his Bible. He knew the Old Testament really well. So whether he had learned that really well as a kid, but sort of left part of his faith to be a tax collector, exactly when or how he learned all that, but we know he did because he quoted the Old Testament in his gospel 99 times. 99 times. That's more than Mark, Luke, and John combined, which I think is really cool about Matthew. And I think that's a great example for us. Do we know the Bible? Do we know the Old Testament? We should. And that should lead us to follow Jesus the same way that it did Matthew. So really quickly, to wrap up, 2 lessons that I want us to learn from Matthew, from his life, and what his story can sort of teach us. Okay. First of all, he was a sinner, like all of us, like all of the disciples, but he's sort of known for that because of his life as a tax collector. But that's not where he stayed, right? His story is not just a story of a sinner who was lost. He's a story of someone who found forgiveness because of his new life. It means me that no matter what I've done, no matter what you've done, God offers forgiveness where we can turn and follow him, and he will honor that. The second thing that I want us to see is that Matthew was an outcast. Now, he kind of chose that because of his profession, but the tax collectors were just utterly rejected by their fellow Jews. He was literally an outcast among his own people. And I'm betting that most of you watching this can relate to that at some point in your life, you have felt like an outcast. But the good news is that for even the down and out, even the rejected, even the outcast, Jesus offers hope. Jesus offers a family to be a part of. So when I look at the story of Matthew, I see a sinner, but I see forgiveness. I see an outcast, but I see family. And that's what I want for you and for us, is to find that forgiveness and find that family in Christ. So that's it for today. Thank you for disciple that we will talk about on Monday is Thomas. So looking forward to that with you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully I'll get to see you on Sunday. I love you guys. We will see you later.